Welcome, everyone, to the John Kentera Show on YouTube. We very much thank you for joining us. We got a big show planned for you today. A lot of great information going into the weekend for our San Diego Padres. And again, if you are tuning in, maybe for the very, very first time, we would really appreciate if you would hit subscribe and make sure you have your notifications on so you don't miss any of our episodes. Try to bring you the best sports content in San Diego and just not reading out of a newspaper. We actually like to talk to people that give us a lot of valuable information. So again, if you would subscribe to our station on YouTube and also make sure the notifications are on. You can follow me on Facebook at John Kentera and on X at Coach Kentera 44. Well, the Padres right now sitting at 2-2 on their road trip. They got off to a great start in St. Louis. They won the first two games, and then the last couple just couldn't quite get it done. And we're going to talk about those four games. We got a lot to cover as far as injury updates on Fernando, Tatis Jr., Hassan Kim, Yu Darvish, Wandy Peralta, Elias Diaz, who the Padres signed. We'll give you an update on him. We got college football starting over the weekend, so we got a lot to cover. I want to go back to Thursday afternoon's game at Busch Stadium. Padres just really couldn't get anything going. I mean, they mustered only a total of 3 hits in the ball game against Sonny Gray and 3 relievers. Sonny Gray threw the ball very, very well against the Padres. And, of course, the Padres have been talking about Sonny Gray for a number of years. A.J. Preller was always trying to get Sonny Gray. To this point, it hasn't worked out. But Sonny Gray went out there on Thursday afternoon and threw one heck of a ball game against the Padres. He went 6 innings, gave up 3 hits, 1 run, no walks, 4 strikeouts. Gave up the 1 home run to Jackson Merrill, his 20th of the year. I mentioned the Padres only had 3 hits in the game on Thursday. You take a look at it. Kyle Higashioka, a 1-out double to right in the 3rd. Jake Cronenworth, a 1-out double to right in the 4th. And then Jackson Merrill hitting that home run in the 5th inning leading off. And Jackson Merrill continues to swing the bat just out of his mind. He's had just such an incredible year. And I'm having a really hard time. I know Paul Skeens started the All-Star game. I know people buy tickets to see Paul Skeens. They don't necessarily buy tickets on the road to see Jackson Merrill. But Jackson Merrill's getting the job done. I mean, he's getting the job done in a big way. And I got to believe he's going to win the Rookie of the Year. I mean, anybody in their right mind, you got to give it to a guy that's an everyday player over a rookie pitcher, I think, unless the guy was winning 20 games and his ERA was 2.5 and, he threw a no-hitter. But, we've seen him before. Devin Williams beat out Cronenworth a few years back. Devin Williams threw 27 innings, and Cronenworth had, played every day. So we've seen that before. Now, as far as the starting pitching on Thursday, Michael King did not really have great stuff. His stuff was okay. His command wasn't there. And you got to start to worry. And I know Mike Schilt, Ruben Niebla, all the stat guys, they're watching his numbers, his spin rate, and all the 38 different things they look at. And I know he's, far surpassed what he's ever pitched in the big leagues. But the ball's still coming out of his hand pretty good. So I'm not going to, jump up and down and be upset. But his command on Thursday was not great. Michael King ended up going 4 1/3, gave up 6 hits, 2 runs, none of them earned, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. King allowed 2 unearned runs. Tyler Wade, blew a ground ball, and then that ended up leading to 2 runs, unearned runs. And then Michael tried to pick off Mason Wynn at first base. It didn't lead to anything, but he got charged with a throwing error trying to pick off Mason Wynn, who, by the way, just had one incredible series against the Padres. Boy, he's a good-looking ball player. Very impressed with him. Yuki Matsui came in on Thursday, an inning 2/3, a hit, a run, gave up a home run in the ball game. Brian Hoeing, 1 shutout inning. Adrian Morejon had his struggles. He gave up 1 run. And quite frankly, the leadoff hitter, the ball out to right field, Peralta probably, without a doubt, should have caught the ball, but it fell in, and that runner eventually came around to score. But again, the Padres had a total of 3 hits on Thursday, so you're not going to do a whole lot of damage with 3 hits unless you're hitting a 3-run homer. Wednesday, they lost a tough one. Our old buddy Nolan Arenado, from his days with the Colorado Rockies, got a 2-out base hit in the bottom of the 9th off of Robert Suarez, and that sent the Cardinal fans home happy. You know, Suarez, and I had a lot of people sending me messages after the game going, why does Suarez just keep throwing his fastball when he's got a changeup and he's got a pretty decent slider? Can't answer that. I can't answer that question. But he does have to mix it up. He's gotten very, very predictable. There's no question about it. And he's starting to get hit a little bit. And we've talked about it. Major league hitters are going to hit 99, 100. They see it every night. And he's got to mix it up. Even if you just back the hitters off the plate a little bit, then come with that fastball down and away. You know, just back him off the plate, straighten him up a little bit every once in a while. And, you know, Robert, he had 2 outs in the ninth. With nobody on, he gives up 3 straight hits, and the Padres get beat. Arenado hits that ground ball up the middle to win the ball game. So that was a tough one. I thought Joe Musgrove in that ball game threw pretty well. He wasn't dominating like he'd been in his last start, but Joe went 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs earned, a walk, 3 strikeouts. He was fine. He was fine. Padres had 10 hits in the ball game. They were out hit 11-10 that night. And they left 10 runners on base. Very winnable game, no question about that. Very winnable game. The one bright spot offensively in that ball game, Luis Arias, has been a little bit up and down. I know that thumb's barking on him, but he was 4 for 5. He had 2 doubles, number 24 and 25, so that was good to see. And the young kid from up in Mission Viejo pitched at San Clemente High School in UC Irvine, Andre Palante. He didn't finish in the decision for the Cardinals, but went 5 2/3, gave up 8 hits and 2 earned runs. And the Cardinals win that game on Wednesday night. But then you go back to Tuesday night. Padres played a solid ball game, a really solid ball game. They were 4 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They beat the Cardinals that night 7-5. Dylan Cease, another night where he didn't have great command. 4 1/3, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, but the bullpen was nails that night. Did a great job. Brian Hoeing got nicked for a run in his outing, but the Padres were able to get the job done. Dylan Cease has been a little bit inconsistent. Overall, the Padres staff is doing a good job, but we're starting to see a little leaks here and there. And you have to start wondering if, fatigue is starting to set in. King didn't have great command on Thursday. Dylan Cease on Tuesday night didn't have great command. That's going to happen. I know that. These guys are not robots. They're not perfect. But Dylan Cease, he's got to be ready to roll. Him and King have to be ready to roll in the playoffs. And I have no doubt Padres are going to make the playoffs. Padres could go 500 the rest of the way. And they're going to be fine. They're going to get in. They're probably not going to win the division title. They're 5 games back now of the Dodgers. Dodgers are red hot. Dodgers open up a 4-game series in Arizona. It's one of those wraparound series. They're going to even play on Labor Day. But they got a 4-game series over in Arizona. And the Diamondbacks now 4 games back of the Dodgers. Dodgers took 2 out of 3 from Baltimore. We'll get you the standings a little bit later. But Tuesday night, a good win for the Padres, 7-5. Arias had 3 hits in that ball game and an RBI. Manny clubbed a home run, drove in his 78th run. Manny's really playing great baseball. He had a great series. He really did. He didn't do anything on Thursday, but Manny had a hell of a series. I mean, he's playing great baseball on both sides of the ball right now. And I just think that he's really feeling fantastic and getting the job done. I can't begin to tell you how well Manny Machado is playing right now. And then Monday, Padres came out, did a nice job. They won 7-4. Randy Vasquez recalled to take Matt Waldron's spot in the rotation. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs. Picked up the win, 4-6. Dropped his ERA down to 4.52. Bullpen was good. For the most part, they threw the ball well. They gave a couple of runs. Morejon gave up a run in his inning of work. Tanner Scott came in, looked good. And Robert Suarez gave up a couple of hits and a run. Like I mentioned, they're starting to nick Suarez up a little bit. And I think they need to take a look at his sequencing because he's getting very, very predictable. Manny, a big night on Monday night, 2 for 4, 3 RBIs. First inning, a 2-run homer to center. 5th inning, an RBI double to left. Jackson Merrill had a big ball game, 2 for 4, 3 RBIs, a 2-run single, an RBI single, getting the job done. And it seems like every night we're talking about Jackson Merrill. Every night he's getting something done. Okay, let's give you an injury update. And then we're going to give you the Padres by the numbers here in a minute. But right now we're going to give you an injury update. Yu Darvish in Arizona. In fact, Yu Darvish, Hassan Kim, and Fernando Tatis all in Arizona right now. Yu Darvish is expected to throw 4 innings Friday. 4 innings Friday in a simulated game against minor leaguers. So hopefully he's able to come through that really well. And if he does that, then I think with the rosters expanding on September 1st, I think we may see Yu Darvish in this next homestand. We'll have to wait and see how he comes out of it. But I'm pretty optimistic because he's been throwing for about 5 weeks now. And I know the Padres are going very slow with him, and they should go slow with him. I mean, he's going to be an added bonus to this roster. Now, Ha-Seong Kim, remember he jammed that shoulder on August 18th, diving into the bag, and it was his right shoulder, his throwing arm. He's making good progress. He's in Arizona, taking grounders, throwing a little bit. He's been taking BP in the cage, but now he's going to start taking live BP on the field, and I would imagine he's going to probably get into some minor league rehab games in extended spring training. So all systems go for him. Now, Fernando Tatis Jr., and we're going to talk about him at great length here in a minute. But Fernando's been over there pretty much all week. And they gave him 1 day off, but he's been taking a lot of batting practice, been taking a lot of live ABs against minor league pitching, which is a good thing. And, getting his fly balls and doing a little light running. But Fernando plays a big part in this ball club the rest of the way. How big, I don't know. And Wandy Peralta, the left-hander, he's made a couple of rehab starts down for Lake Elsinore, and he's throwing well. And the Padres are going to have to figure out what they're going to do with him. And he's on the 40-man roster, signed a 4-year deal. They got to get him back up here before too long. Rehab assignments can only last 20 days. But again, you can go on September 1st, you can go from 26 players up to 28. You used to be able to bring up pretty much as many guys as you want that were on the 40-man roster. No longer is that the case. Well, let's take a look at the Padre numbers, and then I want to talk a little bit about Elias Diaz. I'm going to come back to Fernando. With the loss on Thursday, the Padres at 76-60. Their road record now is 39-28. Of course, at Petco Park, they struggled much of the year, but now have pushed that to 5 games over 500 at 37-32. The month of August, the Padres are 17-9, and the Padres right now, in the midst of the 18 games in 18 days, they're 7-7. So they're going into Tampa Bay this weekend. They got 3 against Tampa Bay. They come home on Monday and play on Labor Day. They play a late afternoon game against the Tigers. Then they're off on Tuesday and then resume that series on Wednesday and Thursday. Kind of goofy on that. But let's talk about Elias Diaz, and then I'm going to get to Fernando a little bit. Elias Diaz, the former catcher of the Colorado Rockies, who got DFA'd. And the only reason he got DFA'd, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. And they wanted to bring up some young guys to catch. And so they let their veteran go. Elias Diaz, if you recall, in 2023, hit a home run in the All-Star game in the 8th inning and won the ball game for the National League and was the MVP of the All-Star game in 2023. Hit a big game-winning homer. I'll remember that. It was really cool hearing him interviewed after the game. He's a guy that came up through the Pirates organization, found a home with Colorado, did a good job. He's a career 252 hitter, got 61 career homers, 294 RBIs. This year he was hitting 270 in 84 games with 5 homers. Now he's been down in AAA, and on Thursday night he rocketed as a designated hitter, a 432-foot home run. I got to believe they're bringing him up. Because when he signed the minor league contract, there's an opt-out. Probably if they don't bring him up on September 1st, he can opt out and go somewhere else. So, with Luis Camposano really struggling. And Luis, really started the year well. I don't know what happened. But offensively, he's not the same player. And defensively, he's never been, Johnny Bench or Pudge Rodriguez behind the plate. But recently, it seems like he's really been struggling handling the pitching staff. And maybe he's letting that offense carry over to defense, and you can't do that, really, at any position, let alone a catcher. So I would imagine on September 1st, Elias Diaz is coming up. And if he's not coming up, then he's going to be out of the Padre organization on his way somewhere else. And somebody else will bring him up on shortly after September 1st if the Padres don't. But it was a good pickup. A veteran guy, 33 years of age, knows what he's doing behind the plate. So we'll keep our eye on that one. Okay. I want to come back to Fernando. I mean, Fernando's been out for some time now. And Fernando, you're going to have to be very careful with him. And I think even in Arizona, the Padres have been very careful with him. They let him work out. They gave him a day off. He's coming back from that right femur injury. And let's face it, I mean, Fernando's been injury prone in his career. I mean, he's probably missed more games than he's played in his career. You go back to his rookie year, he missed the last, 5-6 weeks with a stress reaction in his back. Now he's got a stress reaction in his femur. Kid's 25 years of age. You got to handle him with kid gloves. You've got him for a long-term contract. So he's coming back. But how much is he really going to be able to play? I mean, is he going to play 2 days in a row? You give him a day off. You're going to play him every other day. What can the Padres do to push him without aggravating that stress reaction? They're going to have to go on how he feels. They're going to have to go on what the medical staff are telling him. This team right now has great chemistry. And David Peralta's done one heck of a job. I mentioned there was a ball on Thursday I thought he should have caught. He didn't, but hey, that happens to everybody. David Peralta's a gamer, and he lays it on the line night in and night out. And I'm not saying that he's going to be the starter over Fernando Tatis Jr., because if Fernando's healthy, you got to get Fernando in there. But how much can you push Fernando? Where does Fernando fit in with this ball club right now? I mean, I think you got to plug him in somewhere. But where do you put him in the batting order? Do you put him the top of the order? You have him lead off, or you leave a rise there? You know, Fernando has hit like 309 in his career as a leadoff hitter. He hits better at leadoff than any spot in the order. Where do you hit him? I mean, I want you to tell me on our comments. Tell me where you put Fernando in this lineup. Do you hit him 3? Do you hit him 5th? Do you hit him 6th? Do you hit him 7th? Do you lead him off? Where do you hit Fernando? And not upset the apple cart. I mean, you got a bunch of guys right now that have been doing this for a long time, and they've been winning a lot of baseball games. And Fernando, even when he comes back, it's going to take him a while to get up to speed against major leaguers. You can take all the at-bats down there against rehab guys in the minor leagues or A-ball pitchers, rookie league pitchers. It's not like going against big-time starters in the big leagues. And Fernando's coming in the final month of the season. He's missed so much time. And he's such a great athlete. And I think most of you know, I've said this over and over. He's my favorite guy. I mean, I love watching this guy play. Love watching this guy play. But you got a heck of a ball club here. And where does he fit in, and how often can he play? Can you run him out there 4 or 5 days in a row? I don't think so. I don't think you can without him having a setback. And you got roster issues. I mean, you got Hassan Kim coming back. You got Wandy Peralta coming back. You got Fernando coming back. You got Darvish coming back. Now, the easy one's probably, send down Bryce Johnson. I get that. And Bryce Johnson knows that as well. Tyler Wade's been with this ball club all year, done a nice job in his role. I know he made an error that led to a couple of unearned runs on Thursday, but he did a nice job. Overall, in his role, he's done a nice job. Elias Diaz, what are you going to do with him? You going to ship Camposano back to AAA? I don't think so. Maybe. You never know. So there are going to be a lot of interesting things happen on September 1st. When all these guys are ready to go, there are going to be guys coming in the door, and there are going to be guys going out the door. Some may be headed to AAA. Some may be headed out of the organization. But we'll keep you up to date on all of that. But what do you do with Fernando? Where does he hit in the lineup? Mike Schilt, you don't think Mike Schilt thinks about that? And I'm asking you to think about it, and I want to get your comments on that. Where does Fernando hit in the lineup, and how often can he play? Can he play 3-4 days a week? I don't know. We're going to have to find out on that. Okay, I want to take a look at the pitching matchups for the series in Tampa. And again, this is a tough trip. I mean, they played, and the environment is not an excuse, by the way. Okay, I know it's hot and humid in St. Louis. I get that. I spent 2 summers coaching and managing in the Midwest. I know what it's all about. It ain't fun. That's why we played all night games. And some nights didn't even take batting practice because it's just so miserable. But hey, you got to play. And then the Padres, after getting beat 2 days in a row, they had to fly to Tampa. Going to the East Coast, not easy. And they're going to play a Tropicana field. Probably as bad a facility as there is in Major League Baseball. But Friday night, Tropicana Field, 3:50. Game's on Apple TV, by the way. I have a subscription, so I'll be watching. Padres going to send left-hander Martin Perez 3-5 and a 4.60 ERA overall, but pitched very well in a Padre uniform. He's got a 2.70 in his 5 starts with the Padres, 26 and 2/3 innings. The last couple starts, he hadn't been able to go 5 innings, but overall, Martin Perez has pitched very, very well in a Padre uniform. He'll go against young 23-year-old right-hander Taj Bradley, who's 6-8 in a 3.77. Saturday, 1:10 afternoon game. Right-hander Randy Vasquez, 4-6 and a 4.52, coming off a really nice start against the Cardinals this past week. Going against right-hander Shane Baz, 1-2 and a 3.48. And in the final game on getaway day, it'll be right-hander Dylan Cease, 12-10 and a 3.53, going against former Dodger right-hander Ryan Pepio, 7-6 and a 3.61. And again, that game on Sunday will be at 10:40. Now, remember, Monday, the Padres open up the series against the Detroit Tigers. Labor Day, it'll get underway at 3:40. The Padres have an off day on Tuesday, kind of a quirk in the schedule, but they'll have played 18 days in a row. So Tuesday's an off day. They pick up that series on Wednesday at 6:40 at Petco and Thursday at 5:40. And then on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Bob Melvin and the San Francisco Giants come in to finish up the next homestand. Okay, let's take a look at the National League West standings as well as the wild card and see what kind of work the Padres have to do. The Dodgers are red hot. They ended up taking 2 out of 3 from Baltimore. They dropped the first game, came back and won the next 2. Dodgers sitting at 80 and 54 right now. There are 5 games over 500 on the road, and again, they open up a critical 4-game series against the Diamondbacks on Friday night at Chase Field. Arizona playing great baseball. They're 76 and 58. They're 4 games back. Padres, with the loss on Thursday, they fall to 5 games back at 76 and 60. The Giants get to 500, just can't stay over 500. They were a couple of games over 500, then they dropped back there 67 and 68, 13 and a half games back, and then our buddy Black, 50 and 85, 30 and a half games back. So the Padres 5 games back in the division. Let's take a look at the wild card. And the wild card, you got to be careful here because you got some teams right now that are on the outskirts, but are still playing pretty good ball. Diamondbacks right now, 3-game lead. Padres a 2-game lead in the wild card. The Braves, it's been a real struggle all year long for the Braves. They're sitting at 73 and 61. They've got a 3-game lead right now over the New York Mets. The Mets got some pretty good pitching. Mets sitting right now at 70 and 64. And you know what? I'm not even going to rule out the Cubs at 68 and 66. And with the Cardinals beating the Padres each of the last 2 days on Wednesday and Thursday, they're back to the 500 mark. And you never know, in that division, they may be able to roll some wins off. So right now, the Padres are looking in pretty good shape. But again, you can't have back-to-back losses too often, or you give other teams an opportunity to gain ground. So that's where we're at right now. Okay, let's take a look at college football. And I'm all excited because Saturday I'm going to Snapdragon Stadium. Aztecs open up against Texas A&M Commerce at 5 o'clock. Texas A&M Commerce, they were 1-9 last year. They got all kinds of new players, but so did San Diego State. San Diego State lost 42 players through the transfer portal or for whatever other reasons. They lost 42 players, but they brought in 48. And I've been saying on our podcast, I have no idea what to expect from San Diego State. I mean, it could be wild and wacky. Offensively, I expect them to put some points on the board. Defensively, I don't know. I'll be able to tell you after I see them play. But it's going to be exciting. Sean Lewis seems to be a really good guy. Looking forward to talking with him after the game on Saturday. We'll see where it comes from. But Texas A&M Commerce, as I mentioned, they're 1-9. They play Division I AA football, basically FCS they call it nowadays. They play in the Southland Conference with Incarnate Word, Houston Christian, Lamar, McNeese State, Nichols State, Northwestern State, Southeast Louisiana, and Stephen F. Austin. So this is a game that the Aztecs should win. They should dominate. They're a 34.5-point favorite. So hopefully they get off to a good start. Aztecs got a pretty tough schedule this year, but I'll give you reports on that. Also on Saturday, USD, the Torreros open up play Saturday night at Torrero Stadium, 5 o'clock. They'll take on the Cal Poly Mustangs. Torrero's second-year head coach, Brandon Moore. Boy, he had a rough first year. Not only on the field, but off the field. He comes in, and there were all kinds of harassment charges against the program. Yeah, there were lawsuits filed, and, none of them against him. But he walked into a firestorm, and they went 4-7. They were 4-4 in the Pioneer Football Conference. They're finished, predicted to finish in 5th place this year. We'll have to wait and see. But they open up on Saturday at 5 o'clock at Torrero Stadium. We wish the Toreros the very, very best. And some other news that came down earlier in the week, the 2024 DirecTV Holiday Bowl. We know it's been moved from Petco Park. It was supposed to be their last 3 years. It was their last 3 years, but that first year, remember UCLA bailed out at the last minute? I'll never forget, I was driving to Petco, and I get a phone call, said the game's been canceled. Like, are you kidding me? But I've been there each of the last 2 years when they actually play, but now they've moved it to Snapdragon Stadium. And that'll be great. I love going to Snapdragon Stadium. And if you missed it, the game's going to be played on Friday night, December 27th at 5 o'clock. Snapdragon Stadium. The matchup will be a team from the ACC and against current or former teams from the Pac-12 Conference. Last year's Holiday Bowl, they had 35,317. USC defeated Louisville. Good game, 42-28. Where Miller Moss started in place of Caleb Williams. He came out and was absolutely fantastic, hitting everybody all over the field. Big win for the Trojans. Actually, the Trojans really showed up and played good football that night. So I just wanted to get you caught up in everything. Padres have a very, very big weekend, and they've got a big homestand. They need to knock out some W's. Tampa Bay, not going to be easy. Tampa Bay, they swing the bat. They're a good ball club. They've had an up-and-down year, but they're dangerous. They're a dangerous ball club. And the Padres, they need to play top-notch baseball. They need good starting pitching, and the boys will get home. And I know they're probably already marked it on the calendar for Tuesday. They need an off day and then really ratchet it up the final month of the season. It's been a good year, but you got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing. And again, if you tuned in a little bit late, make sure you give me a comment regarding Fernando. Where does Fernando hit in this lineup when he comes back? And he could be coming back on this next homestand. So, keep your eyes open on that one. But, where does he hit in the lineup? Do you put him up in the top spot, or do you drop him down in the order and take a little pressure off him? And it'll be interesting to see how many days in a row they can run him out there. Again, I want to thank you for tuning in. Again, we always enjoy your comments. Again, you can follow me on Facebook at John Kentera, and you can follow me on X at Coach Kentera44. We're on YouTube with all of our shows. And please, when you do tune in, we love to get the comments, and also please subscribe. Until next time, have a great weekend, everyone. We'll talk to you again real soon on the John Kentera Show on YouTube. Bye-bye.